How will Australia decide who gets to be among the 12,000?
We are going to focus on persecuted minorities, on women, children and families who are in refuges on the borders of Syria.
We have Syrian refugees in our own detention centre on Manus Island. Why do those people not deserve a chance at refuge in Australia?
Well, we don't want to reward people smugglers and we don't want to reward people smuggling.
But surely we wouldn't pay people smugglers, they're criminals.
Well, what we do is we stop the boats by hook or by crook. I just don't want to go into the details of how it's done.
Hypothetically, would you find it acceptable to pay people smugglers?
Look, Neil, I'm just not going to get into hypotheticals.
Australia's Prime Minister has avoided answering whether his country's Navy paid the crew of a boat carrying migrants to return to Indonesian waters. Indonesian police say the crew was found with about $30,000 in cash after being intercepted by the Navy on their way to Australia. Joining me now is Catherine Cronin. She's a barrister working in immigration and human rights law. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
So, are you surprised by this claim?
Unfortunately not. I mean, Australia has a very poor record in terms of the way it deals with refugees, and they are ever escalating the sorts of punitive responses to them. So this is, and for their head of state to come out and say they will do things by crook is essentially to attest to an improper or an illegal approach to immigration processing and refugee resettlement.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing that is extraordinary about it is to enmesh yourself with crime syndicates. I mean, we hear so much of these smuggling crime syndicates, and the government itself stresses how badly they behave, how much mistreatment, how much exploitation. So to be actually leaving people under their controls and actually paying them, not only getting money from the migrants who are desperate to come to Australia, but then the government giving them a fare on the way back is an extraordinary and perverse incentive.
I mean,
Australia is already in breach of the Refugee Convention. Their offshore processing system, the penalties that they impose. I mean, the Refugee Convention doesn't allow you to impose penalties on people who come to your country without proper visa authorization, and Australia does. Imposes those penalties in spades, really. Their detention policies, their, paying Cambodia to take the people they have found to be refugees. All of this is really a failure to live up to the principles and the legalities of the Refugee Convention. In Australia, these international conventions, such as the Refugee Convention, can't directly be enforced by Australian courts. So it allows the government to avoid the obligations that they've signed up to in international law.